I am Reka, a fledgling witch under the tutelage of the infamous Baba Yaga. Join me as I expand and build my own extraordinary chicken-legged cottage, making it a true witch's haven. These lands teem with creatures of Slavic myth, encounters both wondrous and strange await. Together we'll explore this enchanted world, and I will forge my own unique path as a witch. We start at the character customization screen, arguably the most enjoyable part of any game, customizing our girl to be exactly what we want. So we've got the basic options like body, head, clothing and accessories, but what's interesting here is that we have the option of picking tattoos with some surprising placements.
And most of these going on her hands. Well, I don't know where that one's gone. Oh my god, it's on her face and her chin.
I opted for the black dip fingers. They were by far the most interesting one to me. We zoom now closer into her face to have a look at some of our face options, and I can't help but keep swishing her from side to side because the hair mechanics were lovely to look at. But there's something that's interesting that caught my eye on the face options.
There's a freckle slider. Well, let's have all the freckles. Let's have all the freckles. Yes. All the freckles, and as intense as they come, please.
We're going to whiz through some hair options right now, and it's time to say goodbye to those braids. I did go through all of the options, which you can see here very quickly, before ultimately deciding on the curly ponytail and changed all the sliders so that she is a redhead. Now, I'm not a dress girly, so I was really pleased to see some pant options, and when I saw this one I just could not help myself.
This is probably going to be the one.
Lovely as that outfit is on its own, we are going to need a coat because this area of the world is going to be cold and we are going to be exploring the wilderness, of course. And here, all complete, our adventure begins. Wow, so we are new into the world in this autumnal forest, leaves falling from the sky, just having a quick look around, following this path up here to where our story is bound to begin. Look at that lighting coming through the trees, that is just beautiful. It doesn't look like we've got much time to explore the world because we are starting straight away. But just have a quick look at my girl in her full lighting. Oh, okay, Bogdan, eager beaver. One of the wheels have fallen off. I think it's rolled down the path towards the bridge. Shoddy workmanship, I tell you. Could you find it for me, please? Well, I suppose so. I suppose I can. So he says it's come off this way. I'm gonna quick look round. Oh, it's right here, Bogdan. Could you not have got this yourself? Maybe he's not strong enough to lift it up. Right, I'll bring it back to you. You found my wheel, thank you. Wouldn't have got much further without it. Well, stating the obvious there, Bogdan, you certainly would not have. Hey, you look familiar. No, don't say it. Oh, goodness, we've got a demon in a jar. Felix, I think his name is. Felix. Getting old, how dare you, Felix? I never forget a face, but occasionally I misplace them.
Angry demon in a jar.
You're right. They do look like they've been through some trouble. I know you like trouble as much as the next Zeldan, but it's rude to pry. I'm sorry about my business associate. He gets overexcited. I explored some of the dialogue options with Bogdan, and he will be a merchant later on in the game, but at the moment he's very busy putting his wheel on. He does make mention that we can see Felix and most folks can't. Well, Bogdan, that's probably because we are a witch. He tells us that Felix is what happens when you give chaos legs and teeth. We'll leave Bogdan to finish out sorting his wheel and set off down the road to the little village that we can see off into the distance. We meet Iwona. She is sat on a bench at the start of the village and she's pretty full of herself, thinking that she's the nicest person in the village. But she does give us some useful intel on an old lady in the woods that we should stay clear of. But we're not going to listen to her and we're going to find out who this witchy lady is. We see this man who's been attacked by crows and we run over to help him, maybe. We get into some dialogue options with him, but we have other things on our mind.
Not even a moment to waste. Never mind the crows and what on earth they were doing to you, but tell me about the woman in the wood.
Tomek does tell us that she's a dangerous relic of our old past, but I'll be the judge of that, I'm thinking. He tells us about what the future belief is, which is this highest lord that apparently most right-thinking folk believe in. We are going to ask him what the matter is. See those birds? Shifty looking things, beady eyes like berries. I could swear they're following me, stalking me. In fact, I can't scare them off. They must belong to that old crone. She's pretty shifty too. If you help me get rid of them, I'll make it worth your while. I don't see the problem myself.
I would love to just have a ravenous horde of crows follow me around. We can talk to the crow.
Then look around this guy's yard for a little longer, seeing if I can find more crows. Hush, hush, leave a weak soul alone. Wells are apparently good spots to hide home decoration items, and in each well that I looked at I found new items to decorate my soon-to-be home. Continue asking villagers for some more information about the woman in the woods, and Christina tells me that she used to roam these lands travelling in a house that could move about by itself. I'm glad that Christina doesn't think it's rude that I'm not even looking at her when we're talking, but then again the villagers just seem to push you about while you are. We receive a side quest from the next lady called Yulia, who tells us about her friend Jakub, who she hasn't seen for a while. He's been travelling and he's not returned. She asks us to keep a lookout for him while we're on our own adventures, so we must definitely try and keep track of that and come back to Yulia with some answers. We are of course looking for this old lady in the woods. We come to the edge of town and we're told to tread carefully, which means we're one step closer.
You have been told about the location. Find it with your compass at the top of the screen. Okay. She's in this direction.
You can tell that you're generally going in the right direction to an old lady in the woods that's supposedly a witch by the amount of crows that there are leading the way. Of course, I need to take another look at this beautiful atmosphere, which will change quite dramatically as we get closer to the witch's house. As soon as we embark closer to the house, you can see that the sky turns grey and clouds turn over. The blue skies completely disappear as we get towards this house. And the music certainly does match it as it changes in intensity as we move towards the home. Well, that gate just magically opened on its own. Old lady, I am assuming you are a witch.
One moment. I have a chicken now.
Well, look at you, weak and alone in the world, like a newborn kitten you stumble forth into my garden. Well, she's certainly looking like a witch, is she not? Tell me, little kitten, what brings you here? No answer for me? That's fair, that's fair. We hardly know each other. Yet perhaps we always have. Another life, another lives. It's all the same to me. But enough of this idle chatter. There is work to be done. There is always work to be done. My shell's heart empty and my belly grumbles like a Yukif wife. Hot water and herbs do not a meal make. Bring me some ingredients to make tasty soup. You'll find the recipe in the book on the bench. Looks like you need fattening up too, kitten. You may borrow my birds. but know they are more precious to me than any other creature that breathes upon this earth. And you, my child of wing and claw, see that this kitten knows her herbs from her weeds, and if she tries to run, well, you know what to do. Oh, okay. Ah, here is the book on the bench. Press Y to open your journal. The journal is the book that Baba Yaga gave us and we found on the bench. It keeps track of our main mission as well as our inventory. Click on collection, then items. Finally, click on the honeycomb to learn more about it. So this is the collection page. Clothes, trinkets, furniture. Things to look at a bit later, I'm thinking. So let's investigate this honey. Mainly found high up in trees. Oh, and one more thing. A challenge perhaps. Certainly more challenging than finding some simple mushrooms. The Lutki have stolen my magical talisman. You have been told about the location of the Lutki home. Remember that the old lady said that we could borrow her birds, which got me really excited.
I've got a crow.
Yes, indeed, something to be very excited about. Look how majestic this bird is on my arm. The crows do have their own mechanics in the game. They help you to collect resources. Aiming the crow up high, you can collect resources from high up in trees or other high locations. And by holding down the collection button, it will collect all the resources that are on the ground, which does leave you playing the game holding that button down, so they collect all the materials around you. Easy peasy. We are of course on a mission to collect honey and mushrooms given to us by the old lady. And here it's dawning on me how light and beautiful this area is.
Oh, the sun didn't set. It's just dark where you live, lady.
I'm so focused on collecting these mushrooms and getting as many resources as possible that I completely neglect to notice that there is a hanging bag of resources in that tree. Don't worry, we will come back and get it though. Bouncing in the distance is some logged creatures. This can be none other than the Lutki. We have an option to give it a berry, but as you can see, we don't have any raspberries in our inventory. But over off to the side, there are some bushes with some red berries here, and you can see the crows at work gathering all of them as I just casually stride through the bush. We give the berries to our friends, and it doesn't happen all the time, but occasionally we are rewarded for our effort of giving out berries with some home decoration items. The leader of the Lutki is actually trapped underneath some of these log planks. Don't know how you got underneath there, fella, but we certainly will try and help you out. This brings us to the next mechanic of the crows that we've been gifted. If you aim them at broken or wooden items, they can destroy them. I thought I got him completely unstuck here, but apparently there's one tiny little log to the right hand side. Gifted back to us is the talisman that we were searching for, which is a teleporter. By holding down the B button, we can be teleported back to the old lady's house. I wasn't done giving out berries though, so I quickly made sure that every single one of them had a berry before being teleported back to the house. Old woman, I'm in the house. Come in, come in. Could take a chicken inside with me. Oh, there she is. Tell me, little kitten, do you have a name? Reka. Don't know my name, and I don't know her name either. I see. Yes, Reka, of course it is. Do you know that your name means river? Rivers are important, vital, the arteries of the world. They bring life. Perhaps you do too. Well, did you get all the ingredients? Good. We'll need them for the ritual. So apparently we weren't making soup, but instead gathering ingredients for a ritual. She sends me out to go get an oak branch. This is the location where the oak branch is. I decided that not go for the obvious branch, but instead go for this more mangled branch. I tried to send my ravens up there to collect it, but that was a no-go. So I did get the more obvious branch, which is what the game was telling me to do anyway. On the way back to the house, I found a trunk with some
Oh.
more decorative items in it, which we'll be able to decorate our home with. We did need to gather one more ingredient.
Right, we need a chicken friend now.
Which is a chicken. I hope you can see where this is going. I didn't to begin with. I'm here now trying to select my chicken, but one has already caught my eye, which is not in this pen.
Well, I like the escapee.
I take the escapees to the back of Baba Yaga's house, or the old lady's house. You can't see it in view just yet, but as we come over this hill, we're going to see the remains of what was an old house. The house is surrounded by what can only be described as very large bones. It's here when it starts to dawn on me that this is going to be a ritual that creates a certain house with chicken-like features. This is the place we fell all those years ago. They fell. The house and Baba Yaga, maybe? It definitely is a chicken house. Those who would not listen and those who would not learn. We all fell, as we all do, but my friend, my love, my child, do not get back up. I searched for answers far and wide. Eventually I returned here, cast my mind wide, sent out a calling, waiting for the right kind of mind to answer, one that understood pain, understood loss. Now we must no longer delay. Take the chicken over to the old oven. Oh, don't be so concerned. It'll be fine. I'm sure it will make itself a home in the nest. Besides, it is about to ascend to heights that such birds rarely reach. Definitely going to be our chicken house. And there is a nest. Well, there's your new home, little chicken. The next step of the ritual is to light the pine branch that we collected earlier and cleanse certain spots around the house. Yes, yes, very good. Quickly on to the next one.
She just straight ran through that house. Okay, I can't do that, so I'm just gonna go round.
The final one. Off she runs again. Not taking a shortcut through the house this time. You can follow clear instructions, that's promising. In my hut by the front door there is a shrine to my ancestors. One of them saw fit to leave me an egg, we'll need it for the ritual. We make our way back to her hut and we're gathering up some berries as well as some grain which she said was an ingredient that we needed later on in the ritual. There is the egg. A nice, really big egg. It's like a Fabergé egg. I think that's how you say it. There you are. Look, I had to hold it with two hands. It's that massive. But apparently I can run as fast as I want with it. Whoa! That's good. That isn't the thing of wonder. Just I was so put off by how quickly we cut to her face. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we have to put it in the oven. Almost there. It's time for us to make the offerings. So the offerings that we have to place are in these big cauldrons, maybe, or pans. I'm putting honey and grain that I collected into each of the pans. Baba Yaga has put some ingredients that I don't have. Now I have a talisman. It's like a flame talisman. She's told me to go around the house, and what it appears to be that I am doing is vaporizing the bones. If we follow this bone all the way to its end, we can clearly see that that is a chicken leg. The material that I've vaporized with this old talisman is making some sort of tornado in the sky. And that, I think, was the last bit of bone material we needed to collect. Look at that tornado. That's all of them. Well, there you go, confirmed. That was all of them. Give me back that charm. You are far too inexperienced to hold such power longer than necessary. How did it feel to wield the power of the Savarog? Tingles, doesn't it? Like a nettle sting from the inside of your skin. Back to the hut we go, on a mission now to get coals from her fire. She says that we have to carry it in our own hands. So, that's nice to know. Definitely can carry it in my own hands. And look at the sight of what we're creating over here. This ritual is going to create, hopefully, our customizable and decorative house with chicken legs. You are a brave one, River Kitten. I hope it lasts. Give me the embers. There is one last thing I need from you. Well, that last thing that she needed was a prick of blood, and off she goes to finish the ritual herself. Whoa. It's like becoming an egg shape almost, which hopefully means that this is the chicken house. It's cracking. It's hatching. Oh my goodness. For I am the beginning and the end. I cannot be unmade. I cannot be undone. I persist. Oh, it's a chicken house. She says that she can't control it, so I have to tell it to sit. Hut, hut, sit down. There it sits. You did well, little River Kitten. You did not disappoint, at least not yet. There's potential in you. You have a quick mind. You see beyond what others do. You are a natural witch. Baba Yaga has gifted us some wood to start the building process. You can see here that if we go stand on top of our chicken house, we've got a build mode option. The house is not very well built up right now. It is its bare bones. It gives you some idea of what you can do in the future. There is central to the building a big oven or furnace, so we have to build around that. Here I'm just filling out the floor plan, making sure it is as wide as it can be. I am struggling a little bit with the wall details because I can't rotate them to be the right direction, and unhelpfully the game only tells you how to do that a little bit later on. So now that I know how to do this, I am making sure that we've got walls that are 2 blocks high. We don't have a door option just yet, but I'm hoping as we build it will be unlocked. I wanted to have a roof onto my little hut. I know that the chicken's going to stand up and let us leave this little town area at some point. When the chicken stood up, I wanted to have a perfectly functioning house that potentially I could expand later. But the game interrupts me here and tells me that we need to place down a chair. Baba Yaga is tired and she wants to take a seat down. Now, unfortunately, I was very poo-brain about this entire situation. I thought the game was prompting me to place it in a very specific location, but in fact it's actually teaching me a game mechanic which I failed to read. All items that you place can be turned very precisely, and it can be shifted, as you can see here, into precise locations without you having to move your character around. Now that I had learnt that, I popped down the chair and Baba Yaga sits straight into it, allowing me to continue to build. I had to repair a couple of areas that I deleted when I was trying to figure out the chair situation, and I continued with my roof endeavour, but the old lady prompts me again to place down another chair, but this is no ordinary chair. It's an ancient chair that allows you to communicate with the hut itself. So right now the hut is sat down. When I'm sat in the chair, I can tell the hut to stand up or even walk about. Baba Yaga had said that she wanted to have the larger of the rooms in the hut, so I opted to place my chair in the bigger back room to spite her. Now when you place down the chair does look directly at you, which is quite freaky. Now that the chair is seated in place, we do have more crafting options, the aforementioned door, and even windows that we can place down. I'm just placing some decorative items here. These are the things that we collected from the wells and from those boxes that we saw around the map. So now I'm just placing down the doors. So this is our front door, our front entrance to our little hut. I had a change of mind and wanted to make an upstairs area, so I moved the chair out of the way and started building up my second floor. Now, it did cause a problem. I didn't really realise that I wouldn't be able to place the roofing next to the stairs, so I went back down, rethought, and put the stairs over slightly so I can continue doing my roofing. That went all the way across, as well as the floor beams for the upper floor. Unfortunately, we did not have enough wood to finish it all off. You'll soon see that we stop, because that was the end of the wood that Baba Yaga had given us, so we must venture out and find more resources. Back into the town, we decide to pick up and finish some of the side quests that we started earlier. Dunja here has asked me to help her collect her harvest. Apparently her husband had died and left her to do all of the work herself, so she's asked us to kindly collect all the pumpkins in her pumpkin patch and place them into the shed. I gather up as many pumpkins as I can manage and place them into the shed. And as a reward for our harvest, she gives us, unsurprisingly, some decorative pumpkins. Myra here is asking us to help her with collection of some sweet treats, ready for the winter. I didn't have any sweet treats with me and she would not accept berries, so I go have a look at the side quests so I can see what I need to do. It's clear that what I need to do is to cook up some sweet treats in the oven back at the hut. I stumble upon a goat farmer and, wasting no time at all, I pick up a baby goat. If there's an animal to pick up in this game, I certainly will do. Talking to Vera, she's quite upset because another baby goat has gone missing. She said that last time she spotted her it was heading out into the woods. So I wasted no time, went out straight into the woods to find said baby goat and started what must be the most annoying task in the entire game. As you can see, I am in the woods behind her house looking and searching for this baby goat where it is nowhere to be seen at all. However, I have found and returned back to our hanging bag for the treats that were inside, which are some nice decorative items. Still on the search for the baby goat, we come across this submerged house with a trunk that has some more decorative items for our hut, and this unfortunate skeleton man hanging from a tree with some quite sad journal entries. I did try to get the feather down from there, but apparently my crows were unhelpful in that task. I spotted a herd of deers who immediately ran away, which made me incredibly sad. We could have been friends! Not to fear though, as our next finding is a barn. I had a search around the barn and found myself a new little friend in the shape of a very fluffy kitten. Every witch needs a cat. So I picked up the cat, hoping to walk it all the way home, when I did in fact remember that we could just fast travel straight back home. I was hoping that the game would allow me to keep the cat as a pet, and upon arriving home we did indeed get the option, and the cat was added to our hut. I found another chest with some decorative items on it, but please do remember that we're still trying to find this baby goat and I am searching everywhere for it. Instead though, we come across the gloomy ruins, where we state, how strange, this mirror has no reflection. The mirror replies to us that it's too dark. So I'm having a look around. I noticed that there's a chest in that back room there, so let's have a look what we find inside. It is a new item, a new clothing item. We haven't come across one of those yet. Because the mirror is complaining that the room is too dark, I am now going around the room and snapping my fingers to turn all the candles on. The mirror starts to have this ominous glow about it as I go through each one of the candles. I thought at this point that I was completely done, so I go back to interact with the mirror, but the mirror is having none of it. It needs more. I've apparently missed one, and yes, there it is on the floor, the one that I've missed. Going back to the mirror, it says that it can see and it is beautiful, and it asks us to take it with us. So back to the hut it goes. I'm just stood here in this woods, really perplexed about where this baby goat is, when I hear a noise coming from behind me, and there is a herd of deer. The game gives us the option to feed it a berry, and it befriends us. So, of course, I do the only thing that is right to do in this situation, which is to start giving out more berries to deer. And as you can see there, you have befriended a deer. And I just go around all of the deer, giving them lots of berries. I feel like I have searched every inch of this wood, so back I go into the town to see if there is anywhere else that I can look for this little deer. Going into the different homes, going into the different fields, and wouldn't you know,
Oh, goat. Baby goat. Baby goat. I found you.
of course, we rush the baby goat straight back home, not only to make sure that he's safe and sound, but to give this lady a piece of our mind. The goat was never in the woods. What on earth was she on about? However, she does give us a pretty nice reward, so we can remember the hours we spent trekking in the woods. We return back to Mira again, hoping to give us some sweet treats, but we have not cooked any goods, so now is a good time to return back to the hut to figure out that whole scenario. Now, I'm not going to lie and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I found this particularly tricky. Not because the game mechanics are particularly tricky, because I find reading instructions to games particularly tricky. As you can see here, it gives you clear instructions of what you need to do and how recipes are made. I was doing a very good job of making some recipes and queuing up some lovely recipes that I could take back to this lady and receive some rewards. Unfortunately, I still didn't understand how the cooking mechanic worked. I kept going backwards and forwards within my inventory because I was convinced that maybe I was selecting meals that couldn't be cooked in this oven and I was making some kind of mistake. So I tried combining mushrooms and honey, or just berries, or honey and berries, and as you can see, I've got bowl after bowl making a lovely little queue, which is how the game works and it is how you cook meals. You can set up a queue of around 4 different meals and leave it just to cook and it will alert you when it is finished. It then dawned on me that perhaps I'm missing some sort of fuel, so I go to the back of the oven, and as you can see, instead of interacting with the oven itself, I actually interacted with the candle lighting it. So back to the front of the oven I go on another absolute goose on the loose behaviour, trying to figure it out. Helpfully, this is when the game steps in and alerts me to the fact that I would need to put some wood in the back of the oven. Of course, I don't have any wood, so let's adventure outside to see if we can gather some wood. Wood, apparently, that has been around the house this whole time. The remnants of the old house, the boards, the beams from the house that we made our chicken hut out of, is just laying on the ground ready for me to collect with my ravens. So I gather up as much of that wood as I can to then hopefully return back to the oven and complete the very simple task of making some porridge. Aha, there we go, the wood is in. We can finally cook some bits and bobs for that lady in the town. And of course, let's make sure that light is back on. Those seem to be cooking, so on to building. Just a quick building montage here to fill out the remaining floor on the second floor, and I was hopeful that I'd get the roof done as well with the wood that we collected outside, but as you'll see shortly, I didn't. I did, however, manage to get all the floorboards down for the second floor. Clearly this is going to be where our bedroom is. Up on the roof for the time being, not sure how I want it to connect at the top, and turn my attention instead to some windows and decorative items. Item that you're holding you can place down by pressing X, but every time I did press X I ended up jumping accidentally instead. Not sure why that was, but it happens so frequently, so please don't mind me as I'm jumping up and down. I placed down the mirror that we found earlier. That will help us to customise our look when we do find some new items out in the world. I did want an area in the downstairs to be somewhat of a storeroom come kitchen, like this would be an area that we were generally cooking and we'd have shelves with ingredients or different decorative items that are kitchen related in there. But when I came to place down some decorative items in the room that Baba Yaga is sat in, I realised that this was the more appropriate kitchen and storeroom area, as this had the front of the oven on it where cooked items would be stored. You can see in the gameplay that there is already items stored there. This is a far more suitable place for it. That does mean, however, that we're going to have to shift Baba Yaga out of there. She is not making sense in that room anymore, and I've sat her pretty close to the fire and decided why not. I'm going to sit my little chair next to you, Baba Yaga, so on evenings that we can spend next to the fire sharing our witch stories. I'm cycling through all the decorative items that I have, placing them on shelves where they're appropriate, and I come across our little kitten friend. It's going to go upstairs, it'll eventually be part of the bedroom, but I don't have a bed yet to put it on. I thought that this trunk would be somewhat of a purposeful item where we could store some of our ingredients, but it doesn't work that way, or maybe the game hasn't added it in yet with this being an early edition. So I start decorating the walls with some hanging plants. In the game, wherever you go in the world, you always find a hanging plant to put on. I have a lovely rack here that's going to go up into the kitchen where I can hang all the dried plants that I find. The decoration is done for now. I don't have any more decorative items. We'll have to go into the world to find some more. So I return upstairs to the mirror so I can change my appearance. When we found the mirror, we did find a new decorative coat item. That's what the new coat looked like. I'm swapping backwards and forwards between the coat that I've already got because I like how dark it is, but because it's new, we are going to wear it for now. We say goodbye to our kitten friend and carry on with our adventures. We've pretty much done with all the side quests in this village, so I'm going to move the hut now. Sitting on our skeleton chair, we can command the hut to stand up. Baba Yaga's certainly impressed by that, and now we can tell the hut to be moving forward. That brings us to this view. What a magnificent chicken-legged hut. We can move the chicken hut about the map. It walks quite slow, maybe in our perspective because it is now giant. If we move the hut to the edge of the map where the fog is, it will trigger us to go to the next area. It gives us the option to do so. But we're just going to have a quick look at our chicken friend. Now, the game is giving us an option to sit down. I'm wondering if we can move the chicken house to other places in the map and sit down and have that as our home base, like moving it closer to the town or moving it further away to areas of interest. You can see our house wasn't quite done at this point. We can see straight through that roofing, but we can't collect any more wood, so maybe that's going to be what we find out how to do in the next area that we come across. The new area triggers a new main mission called Trial of the Forest Spirit. Baba Yaga says we have to set the house down and make our way to the town on foot. And look how magnificent this sky is. It's the first time we've really seen it at night. Just absolutely beautiful. It's not long before we come across our friends the Lukti again. The elder tells us that the humans of the village are erecting structures to hunt down animals more easily. He asks us to destroy as many that we can find. This unlocked a new ability of our crows to destroy wooden structures. There was a couple of options there, including a scarecrow. We find our first structure not too far away. I did try to have a look on top of it to see if there was any loot, but there isn't. We can, however, collect the wood that falls around it. Entering into the second town, we are immediately given a task to go and have a look at some traps that hunters have set. Irina is worried that the hares that are caught in the traps are suffering prolongedly and wants us to sort that out. Our friend Bogdan is now set up his trading station in the second town, where we can buy some items that we previously haven't seen before. Unfortunately for me, the poo brain continues and I can't figure out how to sell the goods that I have myself. We move onwards to Dominica, who is here as a beekeeper. She wants us to bless the 3 hives that she has, but I quickly discover that she is definitely missing one. Now that they are blessed, we can interact with the beehives later on to gather some more honeycomb. Dominica complains that her legs are hurting, but I don't know if you've noticed, but she isn't actually sitting on anything. We are of course rewarded for our efforts with some candles, specifically beeswax candles. I was hoping talking to this lumberjack would help me with how to gather some more wood, but instead he tells me a fascinating tale of how he escaped from the mist. The other lumberjacks he went in with though are still trapped out there and he needs help getting his brothers back. Outside the village is an interesting character called Tosha, who is a grave digger. I spy a fellow appreciator of our feathered friends. Too right, Tosha. Tell me, bird girl, would you be interested in aiding my flock? Certainly. I see corvids have blessed you with their presence. They are some of the smartest and most capable avians. Not only can they gather for you, but they can also unmake objects that stand in your way. Now that the harvest season is approaching, everyone in the village assembles scarecrows to guard their fields. My older crows don't mind them, for they can feel that they are lifeless forms and pose no threat. But the younger ones lack the wisdom of their elders, and they are too scared to eat. Well, we know exactly what we need to do. Destroy some scarecrows, and just outside our house, there are certain spots where we can place some porridge with fruit to feed the birds and gain some rewards. We find a trapped hare outside the house. We pick that hare straight back up, and from out of the woods appears a creature that looks somewhat like a deer named Leshy. Your aid has been appreciated, but perhaps you have not yet shown your true colours. You still are human after all, and humans rarely show their honest intentions. You have my attention, stranger. Now you must gain my trust. Oh, and he's gone. We take a quick pit stop back to the hut to drop off our new companion hare, and now we are back into the village, picking up a quest from Babushka Erman. She's worried that she can't make her annual journey to Mara's shrine to bless her cattle, and she's hoping that we'll be able to help her. We need to place some food at the shrine, specifically pancakes, which she gives us the recipe for. In the backyard we have another quest to fill a cabinet up with some sweet treats. We of course have become masters of cooking, so all we need to do is have a look inside of the cabinet itself and discover what she is looking for. Pancakes, mushroom soup, flour. We add to the cabinet already the mushroom soup that we have on hand, and we go back to the hut to start cooking up a storm. Mushroom soup was what she asked for, so mushroom soup is what she will get, and I put 4 different bowls of mushroom soup ready to be cooked. Making our way back to the town, we stumble across some scarecrows, not forgetting our promise to destroy them. We take care of 4 scarecrows in this field. I'm glad I'm not the only person that was struggling with the cooking mechanic, because yet again we're given the mission to find some small savoury meals to help out for the winter. Eirik the hunter here tells us of a beast that's in the forest that perhaps if we befriend some real deer we might learn a little bit more about. I return to Bogdan in the village, determined to sell my goods this time, and luckily enough for me, I stumble across the mechanic needed. On his scales I can place some of my items, which he will give me gold for. I immediately sell up all the ingredients in my inventory that I'm willing to part with, and start looking at some of the stock items that he has in place that I can't find anywhere else. Flowers being one of them, but what catches my eye most is this small blue wardrobe with red flowers on it. We take that home and then we gather some of the essential materials that we'll need to be cooking up those pancakes. Using the small amount of wood that I have gathered from destroying the wooden structures like the tower and the scarecrows, I go back to the hut to try and figure out this roof. I am in some troubles with the placement of the roofs. I'm going back and forward trying to match them up, but there ultimately is some holes, so I give up on that for the time being and start placing around the house the little bits of furniture that I have found around the village, or the rewards that I have received for completing some quests to make this place a little bit more homey. I do worry about the amount of candles that I've placed here with it being a wooden shack, but hopefully everything will be fine. Returning back to the kitchen, I put the ingredients together to make some pancakes, as we'll need them for Mara's shrine. Outside of the village I find another wooden tower, which of course I have a mission to destroy. Upon destroying the tower, Leshy appears seemingly out of nowhere to tell me that I am a fascinating specimen of my kind. Out in the wilderness, I do stumble across the shrine, but trying to interact with it, I find very quickly that I have not got the pancakes that I need. So instead, I carry on my adventures, finding a couple of chests with some decorative items and excitingly a bed. Returning to fill up the store cupboard, I try and place all my prepared mushroom soup to realise that the list wasn't a suggestion, it was a requirement. I need each one of those items. However, I know someone else who is looking for some treats, and unfortunately for him, he gets a boatload of mushroom soup. He tells me that was much more than he required, but sir, it's mushroom soup. Can you really get enough? I try to trade some more of my goods with Bogdan, but he shouts at me asking, do you think I'm made of coin? I hope that you would have been, Bogdan. I returned back to the hut to pick up the pancakes that I was needing and set off some more cooking recipes for even more pancakes. Now to fill up this cupboard with the items that were actually requested, I fill it with pancakes with only one spot missing, but I did purchase the flour I needed from Bogdan, so that is that task completed. As a reward for all my hard work, I'm given a quite strange assortment of items, including 10 flour and 30 gold. Twice! Which seems like way too much. Seems like she could have done this herself. I go back into the forest and find some deer friends to feed some berries to, which of course brings out Leshy once more. Well met, human. If indeed that is what you are, I sense something of the other world within you. Your kindness to the forest has not gone unnoticed. Unfortunately, it is but a drop of rain to a parched leaf. Meet me at the most sacred of places, and I will show you what atrocities others of your species have wrought upon us. Finally you have come. You are welcome here. Many are not. See for yourself what has become of these woods. My children have been cut down, crushed. See the scars that have been left on this earth. I shall be waiting deeper in the mist if you wish to pledge yourself to righting this wrong, young human. Do you see now what the humans have done? How much they have destroyed? You have proven your loyalty to the forest. Now let's see whether you can truly act upon it. No more harm must befell these lands, or they may not recover, for every death must bring new life. That is the cycle, such are the laws of nature. Restoring this balance is your trial, young human, and you will not leave until it is completed. I have faith that you will make better choices than those who came before you. This tree is an ancient larch. It has stood for centuries. It has seen the passing of time. The rise and fall of these lands and all those who dwell upon it. Every branch, every leaf contains the memories of the oldest wisdoms. Each crease in its bark is a memory of the earth that was, is, and will be. It cannot be replaced. It is the beating heart of this forest. Once it was revered by forest dwellers and human alike. But they have lost their connection to nature. They believe themselves to be above it, masters of it. The arrogant fools. All they care about is harvesting it for wood, ignorant of the power and wisdom it holds. You may continue. Well, continue to do what, Leshy? What goes in here? Anything that I have? No, it wasn't anything that I have. It was something that I needed to collect with the help of the crows.
These are glowing. Oh, I'm collecting pine cones. Right, and now we put them in here.
I needed to put the pine cones into this cauldron-like space in the tree, but I didn't have any inventory space to pick up the branches that I originally put in. It kept telling me that there was no space for it, and here is some more poo brain material for you. With me struggling to figure out why on earth this was happening. At the bottom of your ingredients list you do have a delete button where you can delete aspects of your inventory, and it took me way too long to really figure that out. If anything, this should make you feel a little bit better when you're struggling with games, because this probably is quite obvious to many of you watching, but it was not obvious to me. Thankfully, I do figure it out quite shortly and delete some of the additional ingredients that I have so that I can place the branches back into my inventory and put the pine cones into the cauldron. I can now place the pine cones into the ground, which magically restores the forest. I go all around the ancient tree, planting as many trees as I possibly can. You'll notice around these lands are some lumberjacks that are stuck in the mist and begging to be able to go home. We do get a choice later on what to do with them, but for right now, Leshy has asked us to restore the balance of the forest, and that's certainly what we're going to be doing by throwing these pine cones and growing ourselves a magical forest. You did well. Return to me. Very well, your trial is completed. You have proven to be capable. Believe me, this is a feat seldom reached by humans. I know why you came, your real purpose. You cannot hide it from me. You seek my permission to harvest wood. Yes, I would love to be able to harvest some wood. You again. Again, it's been 20 years. 25 by my reckoning, Leshy, and not long enough. Same old Baba Yaga. I know you miss me. Like winter misses the sun, I see you've made yourself a nice little home here, stirring up the locals. Jealous are you? I recall that was always your favourite game. It was never a game to me, which is why I'm better at it than you. I'd say you never change, but that's not exactly true now, is it, my old friend? I see that you've recently changed, Leshy. I miss the old look, but a pretty stag you make. Good for luring unsuspecting girls into trouble, no doubt. Ah, I don't remember you taking issue with that in the past, but don't worry, this girl of yours knows a thing or two. I'm teaching her well. All your secrets. Hush now before I get a taste for venison stew. Very well, let's hope that her sake she is worthy of us both. As for you, it seems like you've handled yourself well enough. There's nothing natural spirits like better than a bit of drama, but Leshy's bark is much worse than his bite, although his stench outranks both of those things. Pew. I don't know why he couldn't have a bath once in a while. I need to leave before my nose drops off my face in protest. I shall see you soon. But before you leave, you should talk to Leshy about what shall become of the lumberjacks. He might not care, but there are those in the town who will. Even fools have loved ones. Do you want to know about those lumberjacks who dared to defile my most sacred realm? Kind of. Maybe. If you ask me, they are perfectly fine where they are. That way they will not do any more harm, at least not to the forest. Let them wither away, I say. But in the end, righting their wrongs was your doing. Yes, I did do all the work. And so I say their fate is in your hands. I love to allocate responsibilities. So, young human, what do you wish their fate to be? Oh, we have a choice to make here. I'm sure they've learned their lesson. Free them from the mist of enchantment. They must not do any more harm. Keep them trapped. Is what's best for the forest. I think I want to keep Leshy on side, so I'm going to pick the latter. You continue to surprise me. You are sure you're not part natural spirit. Very well, they will remain trapped in the mist. Oh, I hope that was a good choice. I doubt anyone will miss them. This is for you, young human. It represents your allegiance to nature. Wear it and know that the natural world will forever owe you a debt of gratitude. Not easy to obtain, I assure you. What did we just receive? Tapestry of Leshy. And it's a hairpiece. I guess we did make the right option after all. Now, we do want to go back home and put on the hairpiece, but we have unlocked the ability now to chop down some trees using our crows, and we need the wood for expanding our little hut. Of course, to keep the balance, we need to keep planting the pine cones so that Leshy doesn't become angry with us. So we are gathering up as much wood as we can before our inventory becomes too full, so that we can use it on our hut and finish off that roof. Back to our little hut here, we are going to start placing some of the decorative items that we found in chests and completing quests around the world. One of the most exciting items that we received was a bed, so we can now build the bedroom upstairs. I first started placing the bedroom over here, hoping that this would be a nice little nook for it, but I do change my mind later. Based on trying to put this tapestry up, I didn't really have a wall big enough for it, and I didn't really want it to go downstairs either. I did try and have a look at different walls that it could go on, but it seemed way too high, so upstairs was probably going to be the best place for it. I didn't want it to be overhanging the bed, so I was going to have to shuffle things around and unfortunately probably get rid of some of these windows because they did not make sense with the tapestry. I was having a really hard time figuring out how to put it down. Sometimes it would let me place it and other times it wouldn't, so I tried to get rid of some of the obstacles that were in its way, hoping that the game would have a better idea of where it needed to go. We are going to need to get rid of some of these windows, and certainly we're going to need to figure out this roofing so that we can place this tapestry. The holes were hard to figure out, and I'm not sure I've still managed to do it, but I do end up with something where there aren't any holes from the inside. Unfortunately, it does create some ugliness on the outside, but we can't see it for now. We will see it a little bit later. I replaced all the windows, hoping that that wall was going to be big enough so that I could place my tapestry. We are now hole 3. So now onto the decorative items and placing this tapestry. It was still quite fiddly, but we do eventually manage it. We have to sort of accept that that's where the game will allow us to put it and work around that. Baba Yaga has to put her 2 cents in. She is not a big fan of the stinking stag, as she calls him, and she does not particularly want us to have a tapestry on the wall, but he's a majestic stag, so we must include it. Here I'm deciding that we're going to have to put the bedroom on the other side, as the bed doesn't particularly make any sense. I wondered if we had enough space to make a whole entire room here, but eventually I do get rid of it because it doesn't make a lot of sense having a wall that high up to the ceiling. Place down the decorative mirror here with some cabinetry to make it look like a whole bedroom. I'm deciding which way to put the bed, ultimately deciding to turn it all the way around, which means moving all of the furniture out of the way. But I'm super happy with the result that we come up with. The bedroom is looking really well presented and probably the best furnished area right now. There's a couple of patches in the roof that we need to sort out, and when fiddling with the walls on the upstairs we did accidentally delete some of the walls downstairs, so we need to patch that up. We're decorating the kitchen with all the items that we have, which includes some ingredient items, making the kitchen look fully functioning and fully purposed. So here we have what is for now our completed hut. This is the entranceway and there is some space here to expand, but I'm thinking about maybe having a porch with some seating area. We enter into our functional kitchen where we can do all our cooking. We've learnt to be a master at cooking, so we have all of our recipes ready to be cooked and a shelf full of food. Back here is where we have Baba Yaga and our sitting area. I am hopeful that we'll get some more decorative items to place behind her, like some cabinets or some tapestries. Now that we can collect wood, we can fill our furnace up and cook to our heart's content. This is our upstairs area with the tapestry that we spent far too long trying to hang, but I still think it makes a beautiful addition to this home. And of course, the bedroom that I'm very, very proud of. In the future we are going to have to rethink these windows as they don't open all the way because the chicken butt is obstructing the hatch from opening. And unfortunately for us, we're going to have to rethink some of this roofing because there are parts that stick out. There are some kinks to it. We're going to have to do a little bit of fiddling to make sure that that doesn't happen in the future. Here is our chicken house all stood up. It's looking much more majestic than it did last time. At least there is a functioning roof, even if there is little bits and bobs sticking out. Now to equip our crowning glory. Pun absolutely intended. The crown that we got for sacrificing the lumberjacks.
Is us. Done.
This would be a wonderful place for us to stop, but we have so many side quests that we really need to wrap up before we can leave this area. So let's speed run some of those with, first and foremost, putting those pancakes where they belong. We return to Babushka to give her the good news that we have offered the pancakes and we are ready to receive our reward. We have one more bowl of porridge to put out for the crows and that is another side mission completed. Tosha is so happy with us that she gives us a spectacular cloak and one of the most interesting decorative items, similar to the one that she stood underneath. We have to go straight back to the hut to equip that lovely cloak, and look how gorgeous it is with its wonderful feathers, looking very much like Baba Yaga these days, and we hang up our skeleton bird mobile. Along our way we did get a couple more decorative items, so we're back to decorating. I'm so happy that we've got a nice little seating area in our kitchen. We can look outside of the window from our little kitchen seating area, and of course, if you notice on the wall, is our gifted decorative item of the baby goat. The baby goat that we spent hours trying to find. Ah, memories. We find out that it was the Lutki that actually had stolen Dominica's third beehive, but he was reluctant to give it back. Instead, he gave us some useful information about a split rock location that we could visit. He didn't really tell us what we needed to do at this location, but when I found it, it did tell us that it wanted us to place some porridge with honey, which of course I didn't have, leading me back to the hut so that I could cook up this porridge with honey. I brought it to the split rock and placed it down, expecting something to happen, but nothing did seem to happen. I returned back to Dominica to see if she knew anything or could update the quest, but all she seemed to wanted was some more cooked goods, so I reluctantly handed out more of my prepared meals. That then really brought us to the end of all the side quests in our second village, so I returned back to the hut, commanding it to stand up and take us to the next area for further adventures. The new area seems to be very much a swamp or flooded area. I'm making my way down to the town, but I do think that that's enough adventure for one day, and we'll have to explore the remainder of this fascinating world another time. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing for future content. I've been Jessica. Goodbye!